Okay, does anyone have anything they'd like to share, comment on, or ask any questions this morning?
I had a couple experiences I wanted to share. Your last feedback to me in the last class was about smiling, and so today I was just playing with smiling on the inside, and then when you were talking about how relating everything to the dantian is the equivalent of relating to the opponent, I just felt like, oh, right, it's relating everything to the smile. Like, even if there's sadness or there's anger, it doesn't just have to be sadness. It doesn't have to just be that emotion. It can still be in relation to that feeling of smiling and spaciousness on the inside. And then the other thing I wanted to share was just feeling pain in my kidneys, and then feeling how much resistance I had to feeling that pain. And then when I actually just relaxed and let myself feel it, it wasn't about the kidneys at all, which is why I hadn't been wanting to feel it, because I was afraid for my kidneys, but it was just emotion that wanted to flow through, that was, being stuck and being held in the kidneys. So that was another helpful confirmation of just relaxing and not resisting the emotion itself, or it will accumulate. But if I let myself feel it and relax, then it flows through.
That's really good. Thank you for sharing that. It's really interesting because, it's kind of like what you just shared shows that it's like both true. It is physical. And then at the same time, it's not all physical, right? Because you're actually feeling pain in the kidneys. And I think that's actually the issue. So you're feeling pain in the kidneys. So the urgency is on taking care of the pain, because you're feeling the pain in the kidneys. So the urgency is naturally with where you're feeling. But the tension that caused the pain was caused from not feeling, right? Because we're bracing against, feeling it. And so the issue is actually coming from trying to tough it through, which means that you're bracing. And when we say bracing, I don't actually mean like mentally bracing, because mentally bracing is not possible without physically bracing. So if you're mentally bracing, you're physically automatically bracing. It's because you can't separate one from the other. And I think most of the time, because the mind and the body correlation is so vague, it's so hypothetical, people say, well, that's all in your mind. And I feel like that statement that comes from the ignorance or lack of awareness of, how the mind functions in relation to the body, I feel like causes that kind of statement of saying, oh, it's all in your mind. Because the issue is that whatever is in the mind affects the body. And so it's kind of interesting, because my first experience with that was actually when I was younger. I have sensitive skin. And so I pick up things like typically that other people don't. And so whenever I'd get a haircut, I could not stand the hair in my shirt, from the small hair from the haircut. And so there was this one time where I always made sure that I shook it all out and there wasn't any hair. And, of course, like you take the shower or you wash your hair and everything. And then I put the shirt back on and I still felt the prick. And I was complaining to my mother, and my mother helped look through the shirt, and she couldn't see anything. So she's like, son, it's just you're being overly sensitive. And so I suffered wearing that shirt. And my mother said, well, if you feel like it, well, change your shirt. I changed the shirt, and of course, there was no prick, but I lived with this idea that basically it was all in my mind, and then I had to just learn how to tough it through. And I did that like for a long time, for years actually. And this one time, same thing had happened. And at night, I remember I was obsessed. I was convinced there was something. And so I just got, I looked for it. I couldn't find it. I got the light out, my nightstand light. And then I basically shined it right on the shirt. And there was this tiniest of hair I found. When I saw it, it was so small that, of course, you had missed it. And I was like, this can't be it. This can't possibly be the prick that I'm feeling, because, like the prick I was feeling felt like a needle, and that seemed like too small. And I took it out and I put the shirt back on, and magically the prick went away. And I was like, oh, this is real. This is the real deal. And I realized something that that what I was feeling, sensing, like, that can't be in my mind. I mean, I didn't verbalize it like that, but the way I verbalized, like, I knew I was right. It's actually what I thought in my mind. But and then over and over again, and then actually eventually I started learning the Taoist starts and things like that, and I learned the mind-body correlation. And then whenever someone comes to my office and says, the doctors can't find this, and they say it's in my mind, there's nothing wrong with me, I just go to the area and explore that part of the body with the person, and sure enough, there is something there.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to the area, and then and typically, and it's some form of tension, and I say, okay, is it this area? And the person, oh, ow, oh yeah, how'd you find that? Yes, that's exactly what it is. And and I haven't had something be, if you will, just in the mind. I just haven't come across it. Now, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be such cases. The mind is a very powerful thing, and the mind can definitely create things. But I don't think it is what people think it is. So let's say, for instance, when people are feeling kidney pain and things like that, that's a real thing, right? That's a real thing. So, but the issue is if you take care of the kidney pain comes back. Because if the kidney was tight and then you worked on it, and you're not realizing that there's a mind-body correlation, but now it goes a little bit the other way around, because I've had the opposite experience as well, thinking it's the body and realizing it's actually the mind, because you can't separate them out from each other, right? So the first example that I gave about the hair, was about actually it not just being in my mind, actually that there is something. It's actually real. Pain is real. Pain is one of our best indicators of awareness. It's like our wisdom that built over evolution to keep us healthy, balanced, and alive. And so it's a big part of reality. So if you're feeling discomfort, physical discomfort, you know that there is something there. Something is causing it. Now, the real question is, what's causing it, right? So now what we don't realize is that the fear that we're feeling about what it might be keeps us from feeling. And when we don't feel, it automatically causes tension because we're bracing. And then that physical tension actually is rather uncomfortable. And over time, that tension really becomes a problem. And the way I explain it to people is I ask people to clench their fist. And then I say, how does it feel? It's not too bad. And then I ask them, how would it feel if you clench that fist and don't let it go for the next few hours? The person would say, I wouldn't want to do that. And I say, why not? Because that would be sore. That would be painful. And I say, what if that part of your body has been holding tight for all those years because you've been bracing or you've been clenching it? And then all of a sudden, oh. And so if you clench something long enough, the circulation in that area dies. And, doesn't get enough blood flow, doesn't get enough oxygen, doesn't get enough circulation of all kinds. The nerve doesn't fire well in that area. So that area literally becomes unhealthy. And then eventually becomes a real health issue. And, that needs to be dealt with physically. Because at that point, the actual physical area has become tight, atrophied, eroded, and unhealthy with all kinds of stuff stuck in there. It's not open. So it actually needs a physical intervention, but along with it, is the physical intervention enough? When the reason it actually got caused was because we've been bracing against something with that area because we've been afraid to feel something. And so you need to be able to do both, because if you resolve the physical thing, it's going to go back for the same reason. Because the very reason why the tension happened, the bracing happened, that itself didn't get addressed. And so, anyways, I just kind of wanted to just provide a full picture of that mind-body correlation. And especially since I feel like your sharing demonstrated that so well. And I wanted to empower people, whoever are listening to this, to be able to trust the discomfort in the body. And then at the same time, understand that most likely the discomfort in the body isn't just physical, even though the physical part is actually true. It's both true. It's probably an aspect that caused the tension over time, especially if no one seems to be able to tell what it is. It's there. It's certainly there. So.
Thank you, Master Kim. That image of if you clench something long enough, then that area loses circulation and the energy gets stuck. And I feel like that's really, I don't know, it's like helping me see it in a new way, that there's the issue itself, and then there's how we relate to the issue, which exacerbates the issue. And so, yeah, needing to deal with both what's underlying, but also like how how we relate to the issue, which make it better or worse.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. And I'm glad that you said this. As you're saying, I just want to just add one little detail that I think would be helpful. If your fist is clenched and you massage it, even if it feels better, if you got the massage while being clenched, it has really minimal effect. For the massage to work, you need to actually have the person unclench the fist in order for them to be able to really actually get the benefit of what they've been suffering from, right? Because if you've been clenching the fist for months or years, and now that area is just really in pain, from that patterning, if you will, from that habitual tension. And then you massage on top of it while it's clenched. Well, that's not going to do much good. right? And so the real question is, how can you have the person unclench the fist? And so when there is pain, pain actually naturally causes your muscles to tense, and it's a natural reaction. So, but then, when feelings return to an area after the clenching, oftentimes it's actually painful. If you've had your foot that fell asleep and it went numb, and then as the sensation returns, it's oftentimes when your nerves come back alive, and it's like something that people don't realize. The body is really smart. If you have to keep a place tense, one of the reasons it becomes rock hard is not just the muscle tension. In order to actually make it efficient so that you can tense, in order to keep the muscle in a tense position, you actually start building, the body starts building crystalline structures in between the muscles so that the tension can be held in place. And so that's one of the reasons. So in that case, actually, you need to do, deep tissue massage to break down the crystalline structures. If I remember correctly, the calcium deposits within the muscles. You have to actually literally break it down. It's very painful. And so, so in really bad cases, you need to actually go as far as to actually literally break it down so that you can open it. But the point here is that we need to remember that if there is a clenched fist, it's not as simple as just actually massaging it or trying to make it feel better. You actually, for it to really feel better, you need to actually somehow make the person realize that they're clenching the fist, and then have them open their hand and then massage it so that you can actually help it relax. And so, that concept, that understanding is so critical, I feel, to actually proper healing of the mind and the body itself. And so I just kind of wanted to add that picture while we're at it.
That is such an amazing summary of the healing system. Both the physical part and then also the part about beliefs and the reason that it's clenching in the first place, and then how those two things interrelate. Thank you so much, Master Kim.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. The whole idea is to become aware of your habitual patterns so that you don't tense any one place for too long, so that you have proper circulation to your whole system. And to understand that actually the way people numb is through tension. And that's why feeling is actually relaxation. Most people don't realize that feeling, the moment you start feeling something, if you try and feel something, you'll notice that if you try and be sensitive, if you try and hear, focus, and then you become still, and then you try and relax. If you try and feel something with your skin, you'll notice that you relax naturally to try and feel something. You become still, you become slow. So if you look at Tai Chi, you slow everything down, you bring everything to stillness, and you bring your mind to a relaxed focus. And then in the traditional languages, you bring yourself to awareness, right? All you're really saying is you're feeling, you're allowing yourself to feel. And then relaxation comes out of a natural consequence of nature demanding it such, because for you to feel, the only way for you to feel something is for you to be relaxed enough to feel it. So feeling is relaxation, and relaxing is feeling. Okay. Now, I am at time, so I need to close this. Hopefully this is helpful. So I'm going to wish you all a great day of feeling, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Master Kim.
Thank you so much, Master Kim.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Master Kim.
Welcome. Welcome.